we're interviewing Mr. Ambassador of Ranko Vilovic, Ambassador of Croatia in Berlin, and as part of the conference of Institute of Cultural Diplomacy here in Berlin. Mr. Ambassador, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And we, two of us, will ask you a few questions about cultural diplomacy and some questions related to your presentation that you gave during the conference. But first of all, I actually have to say a few words about you, and that you're a Croatian lawyer, but most of your career has been actually a career diplomat. You started your career at the Foreign Affairs Office, the Croatian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but you actually, most of the time you have served abroad, like in Bern, in Zurich, UN, so you have been representative in an international government organization and ambassador here in Berlin. And I'm sure I have missed some of your other assignments as well.
Vienna,
okay, that's one of the most beautiful cities.
Yes.
Okay. But as I said, your education is a lawyer, and of course some postgraduate education as well. Now my friend will actually ask you a few questions, and then I will continue as well.
So let's start with the first question. How do you think will the situation with refugees impact the economic cooperation in Croatia and with Croatia?
The economic cooperation.
Yes.
Well, we are concerning the refugees and the migrants, because we have to divide these two group of people. Croatia is a transit country, so we, for the time being, are not having a big economic impact. The expenses that we did have for the securing of the smooth transit of these people, and for the registration, and for the transportation and everything else, are not very big. And most of it has been refunded by the European funds. But on the other hand, we will not have the impact of integrating some of those people in our labor market, which means they will not be contributing to our economy. But what is the most realistic scenario is that we all will have to share the burden, which means either taking some of the refugees, and our government has expressed readiness to deal with those quota, which are disputed in some countries. But one way or another, it will not be a big figures. But we will have to contribute financially to the common European efforts to deal with the refugee and migrant crisis. So economically, yes, we will share the burden, we will play our part, but the figures will not be as high as in some other countries.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. How to use cultural diplomacy and soft power as a tool to improve maybe neighborhood relationships especially with Slovenia and Hungary and Serbia, but especially with Slovenia after recent.
We will always be having Serbia and Hungary and Slovenia as our neighbors. We will not move our territory, and neither will they. So the ties between the people, the population, are there for centuries. And this crisis will not change them very much, which means this crisis will come and go. We will solve this crisis the way we have solved many other crises in the past. And the countries and the people will remain. And I'm sure that these relations will develop further on in a very, very positive, affirmative way. You know, in this crisis, we have had a agreement between Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia to transfer the refugees smoothly. It didn't work perfectly from the day one, but rather soon it entered into force, and this cooperation now is really going on very well. There are no tensions between the population. There's a really good soil to continue on the things that really connect us the most, and this is, in the broader sense, culture. Culture, which means way of life, in some aspects, language, common history, common position on the geographical map. So these are processes which are much more stable, much longer than any current situation, crisis, politics, government, whatever. And it will go on like that.
Thank you. So let's turn our focus on economic. How to use cultural diplomacy and soft power as a tools to improve economic cooperation in Europe and Croatia?
That is in fact the continuation of the previous answer.
Yeah.
For example, whenever we advertise our country and try to invite German or others, but now we are in Germany, investors to invest in Croatia, we always say, that's the logical way to invest in Croatia. You know us, we know you. Our people know the language, most of them. We have the same working habits, same or similar culture, so the same way of production. We have been neighbors for so many years, and you know what to expect, you know our good sides, and we are physically close, so the costs are lower. So this is part of global culture, because the way of production is culture. The way of interacting among each other is culture. Culture is not only arts, it's not only music or painting or literature. Culture is much more, the way of life, including gastronomy.
Yeah.
Yes, I cannot agree more with you than that. But I do have also other questions. I will actually refer to your profession as a career diplomat, since you had both experience, like in representing your country in international organization and like an ambassador. So when the country or a representative of a country gets some more chances to actually represent its country, to make it more visible, if it's representing through international organization or like an ambassador. So is there
bilateral.
Yeah, in a way.
Well, you represent your country in both situations.
Yeah, but when do you have more chances to express, to project the image of your country, become more visible?
The audience is different.
Yes.
Here, your audience is German public.
Mm-hmm.
So you represent your country in front of German partners, general public, political public, scientific community, student community, whatever. And that is extremely challenging and extremely rewarding, and I really enjoy doing it. When you work as an ambassador, represent your country in an international organization, then you don't have so much contact with the country you are serving at physically, but you have the audience from all around the world. United Nations, for example, everybody is there. But when you represent your country, it is the meeting where everybody is present, but not the general public of the country where you are, United States or Switzerland or Austria. So it's different, and it's hard to say which one is more exciting. It's beautiful, more challenging, but it's beautiful job in both cases.
Yes, okay. I actually would like to ask you something about Macedonia, because I come from Macedonia. So in my country, Macedonia, Republic of Macedonia, has this idea or a project, I don't know how to label it, to be represented like in joint offices or joint embassies with some of the neighboring countries. I'm not sure that Croatia is part of it, but I know that Montenegro and Serbia will be part of that project in some countries around the world. So I think still a project. But do you think that if they go on with project like that, because we have problem with the name, Do you think that it would stick an additional level of being ex-country, or the country will become more visible, or what kind of implications would that have for the country?
Yes.
Like an experienced ambassador, I'm asking that.
Yes, this is a process. We see that, for example, you have some common representations of the Nordic or Scandinavian countries. So this is a process that starts in the world framework. How about our region or former Yugoslavia? As far as Croatia is concerned, we are not there yet. How will this process develop? How it will be developed in the future? Let's wait and see. But I think that there are two aspects which are feasible theoretically. Collocation is the process that we are developing within European Union. So as soon as Macedonia and other countries join European Union, I think that the chances to do something like that are bigger. And the other thing is consular issues, because that it is a non-political issue. It is a very concrete part of a job. So these are the opportunities to work together. Will the development go into the direction of some regional European or sub-regional common representations? We shall see, but we are not there yet.
Okay, and one more thing about the migrants, because my country is also on a transit
Yes,
route.
yes.
So, how do you perceive the role of my country in the migrants' crisis?
Very delicate, because the refugees and the migrants that come to Macedonia, they should be at least registered before they enter the territory of Macedonia, but they are not.
Yes.
That's where the problems start. Then you have a delicate situation, either to register them, although Macedonia is not in Schengen, not in EU, or just to let them pass, which is not the solution. So Macedonia, as well as other countries on this route, will have to formulate the common activities and to work together. That's the only way. Because if we single out one country, be it Croatia, be it Macedonia, be it any, no matter of the status, Croatia is member of EU, but is not member of Schengen. So we have different regimes in different countries. We will get nowhere. We have to formulate a common policy and to carry it out strictly. But the solution is respect and protect the foreign borders of European Union, which is a border between Turkey and Greece, not to mention Italy and the parts of the refugees that come through Italy, and secondly, try to resolve the root causes of this problem, which are not in Europe.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
We are hardly waiting to try the Croatian wine. We noticed. Okay, and thank you very much for this nice interview. And your presentation was really very good. I enjoyed actually every moment because you really tackled the issue of cultural diplomacy in the most appropriate manner. Thank you.
Thank you all.